Have you ever seen someone judged before they even got a chance to speak? Imagine sitting in a restaurant where the air is filled with laughter, clinking glasses, and the soft hum of violins, and then suddenly, silence falls because one cruel sentence slices through the room. She can't even read the menu. What happened next shocked everyone there. The waitress, a young black woman, looked up, her eyes filled not with shame, but with strength. And when she opened her mouth, the very man who mocked her, the billionaire who thought he was untouchable, was silenced in front of the entire restaurant. This is not just a story about words. This is about dignity, hidden strength, and the moment the world realizes it underestimated you. Stick with me till the end, because the lesson here might just change how you see people forever. Amara had always known the taste of struggle. Her morning started before the sun rose, helping her younger siblings get ready for school, and her evenings ended long after the last restaurant table was cleared. The small bistro where she worked wasn't fancy, it was one of those places where locals gathered, where the smell of garlic butter and fresh bread lingered in the air. But tonight was different. A group of wealthy businessmen had reserved the private dining hall. They walked in dressed in sharp suits, their watches glinting under the lights, their voices echoing with arrogance. Among them was one man everyone in the city knew, Charles Beaumont, a billionaire investor who owned half the skyscrapers downtown. His reputation was as sharp as his smile, ruthless, proud, and untouchable. Amara, balancing her tray with practiced grace, approached the table. She greeted them warmly, her smile genuine though her feet ached from hours of standing. Charles picked up the menu, his eyes narrowing as he glanced at Amara. "Do you even know what this says?" he sneered loudly, making sure everyone heard. "She can't even read the menu." The table erupted in cruel laughter. The sound was like knives, cutting through Amara's pride. Around the room, guests fell into an uncomfortable silence. Some stared at their plates, others at Amara, waiting to see her crumble. But Amara did not crumble. She steadied her breath, her heart pounding like a drum. She had been underestimated her whole life, by teachers who doubted her, by neighbors who pitied her, and by men like Charles who thought her worth ended at the apron tied around her waist. She looked him straight in the eyes and, with a calm strength, spoke in fluent, elegant French. "Monsieur, je connais ce menu mieux que vous ne connaissez votre propre cœur. Permettez-moi de vous recommander le plat du chef, il est délicieux ce soir." "Sir, I know this menu better than you know your own heart. Allow me to recommend the chef's special, it is exquisite tonight." The entire room froze. Forks clinked against plates. One of the businessmen nearly choked on his wine. Charles's smug smile faltered. In that moment, Amara was no longer just a waitress. She was a storm wrapped in grace, a reminder that dignity cannot be bought and knowledge cannot be measured by wealth or titles. But beneath her calm exterior, Amara's heart was heavy. Because while she had silenced the laughter, the pain of years of being underestimated still burned inside her. Tonight, though, something had shifted. And soon, the world would know her story. Chapter 2, The Power of Voice. The night continued in an uneasy quiet. The men who had laughed earlier now whispered nervously, avoiding Amara's gaze. Charles forced himself to smile, but his pride was cracked like shattered glass. As Amara moved between tables, guests she had served for years now looked at her differently, with admiration, with respect. One woman whispered, "I never knew she spoke French." Another muttered, "That was incredible." But for Amara, this wasn't about showing off. It was about survival. Her late mother, who once worked as a cleaner, had always told her, "Baby, learn as much as you can. They can take your job, they can take your money, but they can never take what's in your mind." It was her mother who had saved for years to buy Amara French language books from thrift shops, her mother who had whispered French phrases as bedtime stories, her mother who had believed in her when no one else did. Now, standing in the restaurant with all eyes on her, Amara realized that her mother's dream for her had come true. Charles, red-faced and fuming, tried to regain control. It doesn't matter if you know French, he scoffed. You're still just a waitress. Amara felt her hands tremble, but her voice was steady when she answered. Yes, I am a waitress. And I am proud of it. Because every plate I carry, every table I serve, it puts food on my siblings' table and keeps a roof over their heads. You measure people by their bank accounts, but I measure them by their hearts. And tonight, the whole room has seen yours. The silence that followed was deafening. People stared at Charles, but his power had vanished. He muttered something under his breath and quickly excused himself, leaving the restaurant in humiliation. When the night ended and Amara stepped outside into the cool air, something unexpected happened. Strangers from the restaurant stopped her, some shaking her hand, others hugging her. One woman pressed a card into her palm and whispered, "Call me, I run a cultural exchange program in Paris. You belong there." Tears welled in Amara's eyes. For the first time in her life, she felt seen, not as the girl who struggled, not as the waitress in an apron, but as the woman her mother always believed she could become. And as she walked home under the streetlights, her heart lighter than it had been in years, Amara knew this night wasn't just about silencing a billionaire. It was about proving to herself, and to everyone watching, that dignity, knowledge, and courage will always outshine arrogance. So, what's the lesson here? Don't ever let anyone define your worth with their ignorance. Amara wasn't just a waitress, she was a fighter, a learner, a protector, and above all, a woman of dignity. And the billionaire who mocked her. He learned the hard way that money can buy a table in the finest restaurant, but it can't buy respect. Remember this, true power lies not in how loudly you boast, but in how gracefully you rise when the world underestimates you.